When Reed Irvine formed the Accuracy in Media back in 1969, there was no Heritage Foundation. There was no Cato Institute. None of the nonprofit infrastructure that exists today was there. Washington was a Democratic company town.
Through the 80s, there became many different conservative organizations got founded.
You had other groups forming like Media Research Center, which was inspired by Reed Irvine.
Existing conservative groups got bigger.
And so the conservative movement was growing, expanding. During the Reagan era, the job of conservative watchdogs was incredibly important. They educated a lot of people, and Reagan was able to amplify their message.
The media went after Reagan, as you would expect them to go after Reagan.
The media hated Reagan.
There was nothing Ronald Reagan could do right. Everything he did was wrong.
You would think Reagan was going to start World War III.
By the late 80s and the early 90s, the whole information gathering ability of the public changed.
It all started to change in the 90s, and one of the, I think, big issues that changed it were these Clinton scandals.
The 1990s were really the first era where conservatives started to aggressively think about how they could leverage the media landscape themselves and push back against the national news media and some of the stories that they were frustrated with.
We had the internet, we had cable television, Fox News, we had organizational infrastructure that didn't exist before.
I think it gave rise to conservative journalism. You had organizations starting to pop up, including the Drudge Report.
So the world had really changed. You could first of all instantly challenge things that you saw as inaccurate in the media.
It's just so much harder for the media to do what it did back when Reed started Accuracy in Media.
After the 1990s, it got good. It got real good. Because you had a level playing field. With the advent of digital media, everybody had a megaphone. With the advent of digital media, everybody was a publisher. Everyone was able to tell the story in their community. It really kicked off the great awakening of citizen journalism in a way that we've never seen before.
My father passed away in 2004. There was no doubt I think we missed my father's voice in a lot of things, but you can't really look back. You have to look forward. You can only say for so long what would Reed do versus what do we need to do now in a changing environment.
Conservative blogs were beginning to take off. There was a frustration with the liberal media establishment, which Accuracy in Media had documented well in the past, but there were few pathways for conservatives to get their message out.
The existence of those alternative means of communication put the same kind of pressure on the major media that Reed Irvine was trying to do with letters to the editors 30 years before.
One of the things that Don Irvine and Accuracy in Media did was help to bring together conservative bloggers in a forum once a week where we could get together with members of Congress, newsmakers, authors, and really have a conversation about how do we strategize, what are the tactics that we can employ, and how can we take on the liberal media and be successful.
If you think about 2004, things were starting to change in the media.
We saw a lot of people writing about corruption in their own local governments and pushing those stories forward. And then of course on the other hand, you had a bunch of individuals who were a part of the legacy, a part of the establishment media, who realized that they no longer had the market on telling people what was happening not only in their nation but in their communities, and they felt a little bit threatened by that. And I think that that really intensified and accelerated bias, and because they were competing against truth. They had real competitors for once.